There's a book out at the moment called Suicide of the Nation. It's by Matt Goodwin, GB News presenter, the former academic, and former Reform UK parliamentary candidate. Absolutely got smashed. It's about immigration and national decline and how we're all doomed. It reached number 6 on Amazon, and also, according to multiple critics, packed with quotes from famous thinkers that those thinkers never actually said. Now, I actually meant to cover this last week, so I know it's a little bit late, and I didn't actually get round to it. But then Lee Anderson got involved, and so it's made it all a little bit more interesting. So we're going to put this one under videos that I missed, and it's been really quiet because it's been Easter. So, to give you some context, Matt Goodwin published Suicide of the Nation, and within days the criticism started landing. I mean, you got the usual suspects calling it racist and moving on, but you also got the proper, specific sourced criticism. A writer called Andy Twelves posted a thread on X that got 1.3 million views and then wrote it up in The Spectator. And his charges? Well, the quotes in the book aren't real. Roger Scruton, one of Goodwin's self-declared biggest influencers, supposedly warned that a society extending hospitality to those who despise its way of life has lost the instinct for survival. Pretty stirring stuff. Scruton never actually said it. Goodwin pointed to the Heritage Foundation lecture, and Twelves read the transcript. It's just not there.
Okay, Matt, what do you say to that?
Well, I think obviously a lot of people out there can see what's going on here, and I would dispute 99% of what Andy has just said. Let's just be clear. Artificial intelligence is a research tool that every journalist, every academic, every data analyst now uses.
Cicero, Hayek, Anthony Smith, Walker Connor, James Burnham, all cited, all misquoted, or quoted saying things they just didn't say. GB News, Goodwin's own employer, put him in a live debate with Twelves to defend himself. And this is where it gets good. Goodwin's own defense of the fabricated quotes was that artificial intelligence is just a research tool that everyone uses now, and that he'd run the manuscript through AI detection software to prove it wasn't AI written.
So last night, I found myself in the curious position of uploading my entire manuscript to about 5 AI detection sites. Now let's start with the best one in the world, ZeroGPT, the most advanced detector that we have. Here's what it said. We are highly confident this book is human content.
He used AI to prove he didn't use AI. Brilliant. ZeroGPT, he announced, and found only 2.2% of AI content. He also ran it through ChatGPT, which told him that the book showed pro-human authorship. ChatGPT, the AI that just wants to please you, gave him an all clear. The AI gave the man a character reference. So when the host pressed him, not on whether AI wrote the whole book, but specifically on where those quotes came from, Goodwin said this.
What I'm going to do, and I've just said this already, is if there are historical quotations that are imperfect, they will be corrected within 48 hours.
That was on the 27th of March. Andy Twelves publicly called him out on social media by the 30th. We're now well past that date, and no formal corrections, no list of sources, and what Goodwin published instead was a piece in the Daily Mail framing his critics as woke activists trying to silence him. He didn't correct the updates, he still hasn't, to be honest. He just blamed the people who noticed. And then there's Boris Johnson. Goodwin's book states that Johnson was in opposition in 2019. Boris Johnson was Prime Minister in 2019. He'd just won an 80-seat majority, and Goodwin called it a minor typo.
They are focusing on minor typos, like Boris Johnson being in opposition.
It's not a minor typo, it's a fundamental
fact.
It's a
minor typo. It's a minor typo.
A minor typo is missing a comma. Getting the Prime Minister confused with the leader of the opposition isn't a typo. But never fear, because 30p Lee Anderson flew in with his cape to save the day. Everybody knows who he is. He's the Reform MP for Ashfield, former Tory, former Labour, man of the people, supposedly, famously suggested you can cook a nutritious meal for 30p, and host his own show on GB News, called Lee Anderson's Real World. On his show, Anderson had Twelves on as a guest, and before the Goodwin stuff came up, Anderson was on a roll. He had things to say about MPs who'd never had a proper job, who had worked in the charity sector, who had no life skills, no experience, and didn't represent real people at all.
Something that really gets my goat in Parliament is the amount of MPs in there, present company excluded, who have no proper life skills, never had a proper job in their life, don't know what they're talking about, and in my opinion, do not represent the people of this country. Because I sit there on the backbenches and I listen to the Greens, the Lib Dems, the people sat behind me, and they are talking so much nonsense. It doesn't resonate with anybody I know in my community. And like I say, Chloe, there's people in there that's got no life skills, no experience, next to useless.
Andy 12 let him finish, then pointed out before Anderson was an MP, he worked for an MP. And before that, he worked in the charity sector for 20 years. Anderson's response was immediate and revealing.
X amount of Labour MPs have only had a job in the charity sector.
Amount.
How many was it?
About over 200 MPs.
Over 200?
Yeah.
Over 200 of the 400 Labour MPs had worked in the charity sector for an MP, NGO, or whatever. And, that's fair enough. But, you'd also be included in that statistic because before you were an MP, you worked for an MP. Yeah. And then before that, you worked in the charity sector for, 20 years of your life. Yeah. So, if we were talking about statistic, you'd be part of that.
I'll tell you what.
But we sit here in Lee Anson's real world. Yeah. I'd say you're a real
Let me tell you about the real world, Andy 12.
Defines them. I don't
give it a rest, Butney. I've had a proper job. I've got my hands dirty. You've never had a proper job in your life. And you come on here spouting your nonsense almost on a monthly basis now. I've done my shift. I've got my hands dirty. I've been underground. I've been on a coalface. What have you done?
Which is true. Anderson did work in the mines. But that's not what he said. He said MPs with charity sector backgrounds had no life skills and didn't represent real people. He has a charity sector background. He doesn't get to use the mines to cancel out that part of the argument that applies to him. 12s didn't let him, and Anderson just talked louder. That was his defence. Follow you.
Friday night, we're supposed to be enjoying ourselves in the pub, and we got that in the corner.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is that that you and some other MPs have actually got your finger on the pulse as to what people in the country care about.
Can you just pipe down left in the corner, please?
Now, I know what you're thinking. What does this, what does Anderson's employment history have to do with Matt Goodwin's book? Well, this is the connection. Reform, the party both men represent, or pretty much all of it, has built its entire political identity on the idea that the establishment lies to you, that the elite fabricates a version of reality to suit itself, that real people deserve the truth. Matt Goodwin wrote a book promised on that idea. He fabricated quotes to support it. He promised corrections within 48 hours, and they didn't come. Lee Anderson went on TV to defend him on a show called Lee Anderson's Real World, while complaining about exactly the kind of career that Lee Anderson had had. And this isn't just some coincidence. This is what reform does. The thing that they're accusing everyone else of, dishonesty, performance, saying whatever is convenient, is the thing that they do live on camera and on their own shows and in their own books with their own names on the cover.
But you haven't got, for example, a single entrepreneur in the cabinet, unless you count James Timpson, who's not an MP.
Just a quick fact check. There are entrepreneurs in the cabinet. Peter Kyle actually started an SME in Brighton. It was a video recording business. So, let's get your facts straight, Chloe, before we start attacking the business sector.
How long did that business last? About 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, I believe it was for over 15 years. I believe it was for over 15 years.
I mean, we even had people faking a professional experience in the cabinet.
You know what? Suicide of a Nation's actually a good title. It's just not in the way that Goodwin intended.